Good evening and welcome to another edition of Life is People. And I seem to have lost my my dear friend Ryan, but I know he's still there.
Whoa. Whoa.
So, so the title of this episode is the era of the creative rising. And I love when I sort of brought this up with you earlier on, what you said, and your words were, and I'll quote back to you if I can read the message you went to me, and I thought it was very prudent of this conversation. You said, um, I don't see the era of the creative so much as rising as see it being diluted and polluted. Discuss more, my friend.
Well, Tim, words are a funny thing. uh, it's become so easy for anybody and everybody to make something, create something, be creative, do whatever. And then after that, you immediately can upload it to the world, show anybody, show everybody. And so and this also has to do with staying relevant and social media and the way that you have to update your audience sort of daily on what's going on, what's happening, what you're doing, minute by minute, and that's what gets you followers, that's what gets you attention, stuff like that. And it's just becoming, like I said, diluted and polluted. There's such an influx that and I wanted to bring this up as an analogy to the Ceiling Demons album, Snakes and Ladders, which fantastic album. A lot of live instrumentation, a lot of different styles, hip hop, a lot of weird things, cool things going on, different things, and that's not something you can really document, on a day-to-day basis, because it takes time to do that sort of thing. Like, it doesn't just happen in a 30-second clip. But the way people and artists are being connected now is, it seems like the more outlandish you are and the more active you are on social media, the more that you are considered an artist, or you are considered as succeeding. The more followers you have, the more you have succeeded. And again, it's just everyone should have the access to the ways of making what you want, the ways of making what you can, just artist stuff in general. It should be extremely open to everyone. And the means of doing it are open to everyone, but it's not being utilized in a way that, like I said, to me, it's not being utilized in a way that is, time consuming, something that, takes a lot of time to put together and to think about and to actually like if back in the day when all they had was writing and putting words into like a novel or a book, and that was the only way that you could do things, was just writing a book. Think about the time and the energy that, and the multiple drafts and the rewrites, and you weren't updating people day by day. You weren't having fans or anybody really expecting anything out of you on a day-to-day basis. They weren't, wondering, it's nighttime. It's been 8 hours since they tweeted. What's wrong? What have they done? What's going on? And so yeah, it's just like a minute by minute, play by play, tick by tick, tick by tick tock of how fast people need to feel the need to do things to stay relevant. And that's sort of what to me, I feel like, is diluting and polluting the sort of artistry that goes behind what people do, which is like the magic and the time, and really thinking it through, going big, going bold, making something, spending years on something, and finally seeing it come to fruition. And but no, now it's just like, I'm going in a booth today, here's 16 verse, check me out on TikTok, and it's just like some beat that is pretty much bought, like pre-made, because that's what you can do with music now. Like you can buy loops, you can buy royalty-free things that are pre-made, and just sit there and stick them together and be like, "Yep, I made a beat." Okay, like cool. And then you rap over it. You make a TikTok. There's the comment button. There's always gonna be people that will be like, "Oh, I love this. You're great. You're the best." And there's gonna be people like, "You suck. You're terrible." And whether they're saying good things or bad things, it's generating the hate machine, which is social media. I would call social media the hate machine. That's sort of what it's been proven to run by. You're more likely to comment aggravated than you are to celebrate something, and that's sort of been proven. So, if something pisses you off or annoys you, you're more likely to say something about it than you are if, who doesn't love a cute puppy video? But, you don't need to comment on cute puppy videos because it's a cute puppy video. It doesn't need my blessing to be like, "Oh, it's so cute." But so I guess that's what I mean by diluting polluting. There's so much going on that you can't, and like you asked about earlier on the last podcast about seminal albums and stuff like that. It's so hard to find to be a seminal album. I feel like it would have to be, massively accepted. Like tons of people would have to find it to be like great. And I don't think you're gonna find that really anymore. It's not going to be like when the Beatles released something or something where that sort of spanned like tons and tons of just different various types of people. So many people, different. Everybody was into the Beatles. But now you can make seminal albums, but they're not going to be as big as what they should be because of diluting and polluting. Just and so much of it sounds the same because it's all pre-bought, it's pre-packaged. Everyone just wants to, you can make a song trying to sound like your favorite rapper, and people will be like, "Wow, this is a really good song. You sound exactly like your favorite rapper." And that's like, okay. That's my competition is, a cover band of some sort but they're constantly putting shit out every 30 minutes, every hour. Dropping that.
See, this is at the heart of what kind of stemmed me off in this thought process, because you can start from just breaking down the words. I mean, what you just described and what you just discussed there, when spoke upon, was the creative. Now, I've always, we've discussed before, the duality of like, okay, what a truly creative person, ultimately, they're always there's very few of them. And I think a lot of people think they're creative, and all they're, like you're saying, they're just replicating, or they're just on the search for vanity. It's almost vanity. They're out for numbers, for people to view them. Whereas the truly creative people, I've always found, and I'm sure you found the same. I'm definitely just, people I've known who are truly creative people, they will create something for them, almost for themselves, and then it's on to the next one. They forget about it. It's like, okay, they don't sit there and focus on, oh, now I've got to do this, and I'm there for the numbers and the views and the clickbait, whatever it may be. It's just, I create something, I move on, and that it's a very rare thing. I think this is maybe one of the things that sort of stemmed me off as well. Well, maybe one of the I don't know, you can almost say it's one of the great lies have all been sold, maybe in the last sort of, since I've been around, or in the last 50 years, definitely, is kind of saying, oh, anyone could be creative. And it's kind of like, well, can anyone really be creative? We can all copy, we can all be, and that's part of human nature. There's always people that invent things and move things on. They're the truly creative ones, the truly creative blues musicians. Then there's a whole sway of people who copied the blues, and then out came this band, and everyone followed that band. And the ones that are seminal, the ones that are pushing the edges. But we live in a generation that we've been told, like, oh, you could be creative. And I'm not even talking about music. I mean, art's terrible for it. I went through art college, and it was just like, well, anything you put on paper, anything you do, because you say you're an artist, means you are an art, and therefore it's art. And if people don't understand that, they're just the plebs. And I was like, well, that's not really the form of creativity. Creativity is at leaving something that's leaving an aesthetics, leaving something that's reaching your soul. And that's why I think, you know, when I asked about is the era of the creative rising, it even boils down to have we almost bred a whole set of people who think they're creative that aren't creative, and it is the truly creative people, are they creating anymore, or are they getting lost in this sea of noise what you're describing?
I mean, I think you do. I mean, just like me, I've been doing all this shit for so long, and I have like no audience. Like, I don't even have like a what you would call like an email list. I don't even have that. Like, I could find maybe like 10 addresses that I could like, you know, print up a newsletter for. Uh, but you know, you do it to do it. I think we talked about that a lot in the early episodes of Life as People's. That you know you're not here to do it for the money. You're not here to do it for attention, the likes, the clicks, the retweets. It's just you know you can't sleep at night because you feel the need to do something, and you sort of figure out a way to manifest that into something. And so that's what you spend your time doing. You know, whenever you have, you know, instead of letting the demons take you, when you have an hour alone, you go to something else. And, you know, you work on stuff, you build it's more of a relief than it is for, you know, I hope my audience likes it. I mean, obviously, I've done so many different things that I don't think my audience, whatever audience I have, I don't think they'd be surprised by anything that I do at this point, just because I did the movie, I did the soundtrack, I've done multiple hip hop albums, I've done multiple music videos, I've written scripts, I wrote and did Graffiti Falls, I've done an audio drama, I've done, when I was working with Mel Cartania, I did some like voiceover audio work for like toy photography that he did. So he was kind of telling a story with these like toy dolls. He hasn't released it. I don't know what he's gonna do with it. I hope he releases it. If he sees this, Mel, release it. But he's I did like voices for that and some writing for that, some character voices, stuff like that, you know. And even I know you want to do a podcast on test subjects. Like if you listen to test subjects, obviously there's a lot of different characters on test subjects. There's a lot of different voices that I do, characters I go into. Obviously random shit, but you know it is just trying to be different, going to different places, trying something new, trying something different, like be big, be bold, and it's also a part of me because it's so just outlandish and outrageous, and I don't know. You do it because you love it. It's not because, and you need to do it. You're gonna lose sleep if you don't do it. You're just gonna lie awake and wonder like, why am I not doing it? So you go out, you do it. Uh, when you do it for clicks and TikToks and other shit, it's bad. It always ends up terrible. Isn't it? You know, the most you'll get from somebody is like, I kind of liked it. Like I liked it. Like,
Yeah.
wow, that was your critique. Thank you for that. That was I spend, you know, like with my projects, like, oh, I spent years doing this. Thank you for that. I like it. That's fantastic. But yeah, if I spent that time on a TikTok and somebody's like, I like it, I'd be like, all right, well, cool. That's all that matters is that you like it because you click it, and then you know after so many views, I'll get a penny, and same with Spotify, same with you know putting a track out every 2-3 weeks just to keep people you know satisfied, hungry, which I haven't fallen into yet. I don't understand that dropping the one track like every now and then, like every week or so. I haven't fallen into it. I can't. I like a big project. I like something you can immerse yourself with.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the very essence of being creative, isn't it? You just it come and it go. And that's something we've discussed before. But I mean, just on that general theme, then. I mean, let's just take an example. Do you think there'll ever be another David Lynch? Do you think there'll ever be another Kubrick? I mean, with those people that you look back and think, wow, they made some seminal movies that weren't even them were against the grain. I mean, are they still going to be there, or is it? That's what I'm trying to say. Is it rising in the sense of you can rise if you're going with the narrative, but if you're trying to make something that's against the grain, are we ever going to see those people again? Even though we're in a moment in time where there's not, like you were saying before, there's no better opportunity ever in the history of mankind to get to disinformate, to get your creativity out there. There's all the abilities, the internet, all these things. But do you think we're ever going to see another David Lynch, another Kubrick? I mean, or is that just a time in the past and that's gone?
I mean, yeah, I do think it's gone, sadly. Same thing with, like, and I'm not like, pushing the Beatles up to be anything great, but like, I don't think you'll see another Beatles. I don't think you're not going to see another Beach Boys. You're not going to have another Van Halen, Pink Floyd. I don't. You might be lucky if you get another Spielberg, and I'm not a huge Spielberg fan, but he is, mainstream. So you might be lucky and get another like good mainstream director, but no, the movies in general are just shit. I saw an interview with even Matt Damon was talking about it. And I hate to bring him up, but he was talking about like, if he makes a movie for 25 million, he has to put another 25 million into advertising, which they call P&A, paper and advertising. And then on top of that, or he said, well, back in the day, they used to hope for the DVD sales. It was like a second release. So you would come out with a movie, you would make shitloads of money. Then when the DVD came out, you would make shitloads more money. And now it's just like, yeah, you're lucky to get one release, if that. And you have to pay, so you make $25 million movie. You have to pay another 25 for advertising, and then on top of that, you have to spend, or you have to make like another 50 million to, I don't know, feed the whole. I forget exactly what it was, but pretty much he was saying like, to make a $25 million movie, you have to spend 100, or you have to make at least $100 million on it. And so if you want to tell the type of story that you want to tell, I mean, that's just a shitload of money, which again, and this is one of the things I said on the other podcast, which I wanted to talk about because it wasn't the best phrasing, but the idea that one person can't make change. I definitely think they can, but when you're trying to do something like, real and big, it costs you a shitload of fucking money anywhere you go, no matter what you do. So even if you wanted to make, and he's talking about $25 million, I can't imagine even having $25 million to make a fucking movie. And he's being like, this is a low budget movie. Like, it's $25 fucking million, dude. Like, who are you paying? And the elections over here, one of the things I've heard, it's probably true, is the winners usually decided by, or the winners decided by which campaign has the most money. Just like, okay, that's a sad fact. Like, so it's like you have to have money to be big, to do stuff, et cetera, et cetera. Like I said, Bad Ideas was what, $10,000 to make, less than that, and that was with entry fees to indie film festivals. I mean, it got me nowhere, but at least I didn't spend $25 million on it. Like that's an absurd amount of money, and that's just sort of, and that's just to make like a mediocre bullshit Matt Damon movie. I think it was about like relationships or like somebody cheating on somebody. Like, Jesus, that's how much it takes to make that. Like, God, imagine if you cared about it. Like, imagine if everybody cared about it who was working on it. Like, but no, they're just like, yeah, you better fucking pay me because this movie sucks. That's I'd say that. That would be me.
So overall, then, as time's sort of ticking against us, I mean, I wanted to discuss this because it's kind of something that's thrown back at a lot of time, and people can get sort of get quite deep on this, but it's something we've discussed many times. But creative people do find it really hard, and they end up just literally giving up, and that can end up in suicide and stuff like that, and they think, well, this kind of the things we discussed about, there's so much out there, but it's really hard to push through and do anything. My answer to always that is that, well, the life of the creative has never been easy, and that's why I always say the era of the creative is rising, because it's the truly creative people have got the tools in their hands. That's my final thought. I'm going to give you the final word on that.
Oh, absolutely. And like I said, everybody should have the tool in their hand. But it's just, it's almost like we've become so nice, that somebody does something and, we clap for them. Hey, you did that. That's great. That's great. It was really good. I enjoyed it. Like, okay, well, yeah, I don't know. Everyone should be able to do it, but at the same time, everybody wants an audience. Everyone wants to be liked. They all want to comment. They all want to feel included. It's the dopamine from the likes, the clicks, being on social media. It's so much different, in the real world. But at the same time, you can't just sort of discount that because it's social media. Like, it's just as powerful as the world.
Well, they say that life is people, and that people are angels, and that angels are devils, and the devils are me and you.